Hello everyone, in this video I will go over my solution to the problem named XOR distances. This is taken from today's ArtCoder contest and is problem E. In this problem we are given a weighted tree with n vertices. The ith edge connects vertices ui and vi bidirectionally. So this is an undirected tree and that edge has weight wi. What we need to find is the sum of distance of x comma y for all pairs x comma y, and distance of x comma y is a function which is basically the XOR of the weights of the edges in the shortest path from x to y. So if we consider the path from x to y, then we need to take the XOR of the weights of all edges in that path, and we need to sum that up for all x comma y. So the constraints are n is up to 2 into 10 to the 5, and each weight is up to 2 to the 60, which is barely fitting in a long. So we need to use a long to store the weights of the edges. So in the first sample test case, we are given this tree with one. I've rooted the tree at 1, which is a good idea when you first think of this problem. Then these are the two edges, and we compute distance of 1 to 2 to be 1, distance of 1 to 3 to be 3, and distance of 2 to 3 to be 2, and the sum of these distances is 6, and that's our output, 6. Similarly, for the second and third test case, you can verify that the sum of the XORs of the edges in every path between every two nodes is 62 and this big number, and we need to output it modulo 10 to the 9 plus 7 because they can be longs which are very large, and when you sum them up they may not fit in a long, so we need to take it modulo 10 to the 9 plus 7. And you can check out what the definition of XOR is. So the key idea which motivates the solution behind this problem is that the function distance of ij is invertible. And first let's consider a simpler problem. It will help build up the solution. So in this problem, let's just consider the sum of distance ij where distance of ij is the sum of the weights in the path from I to j. Just explain the first step which you should take and which kills the XOR problem. Let's consider that this is a tree with 11 nodes, and let's see that I is 7 and j is 8. So the path from 7 to 8 can be decomposed into the paths from 7 to 3 and from 3 to 8. That's the main idea. So let's decompose the path from 7 to 8 from the path as a combination of these two paths from 7 to 3 plus 3 to 8. And hence distance of 7 to 8 would be distance of 7 to 3 plus distance of 3 to 8, where distance of ij is the sum of the weights of the edges on that path. In the XOR problem, distance of I to j would be, so let's just make a note of this. In the XOR problem, distance of 7 to 8 would be distance of 7 to 3 XOR with distance of 3 to 8. In this problem, it's just the sum. In the XOR problem, it would be the XOR. So let's root the tree at 1 and let's compute distance of u to be the distance of a node from the root. The reason why we do this is because distance of 7 to 3 would just be distance of 7 minus the distance of 3. And that's the whole crux behind this problem. Distance of 8 to 3 would similarly be distance of 8 minus distance of 3. So how does this expression help solve the problem? And if you would examine this expression further for the XOR problem, then we would have distance of 7 to 8 would be distance of 7 XOR with distance of 3. And the reason why the subtraction works in this sum problem and the XOR works in the XOR problem is because the inverse function of addition. So this is an important point which we should note. The inverse of addition is subtraction, and the inverse of XOR is XOR itself. Like that's the whole crux of the problem, and that's why distance of 7 to 3 would be the subtraction. And in this case, since XOR is its own inverse, hence distance of 7 to 3 would be distance of 7. And when we XOR out distance of 3, we would basically remove the contribution of the edge from 1 to 3. So I'll just expand this idea a bit. So distance of 7 would be the edge from 1 to 3. So let's say this is W1. Let's say that corresponds to the weight of the edge. XOR with the weight of the edge from 3 to 7. And distance of 3 would be just the weight of the edge from 1 to 3. Hence distance of 7 XOR with distance of 3 would basically would basically remove the contribution of this edge from 1 to 3 and would make it actually 3 to 4 and 4 to 7. Sorry for that mistake. This should be 3 to 4 and 4 to 7, and hence this would be the resulting value of distance of 3 to 4. So let's see how does this help in the general case. So for this specific case, we saw that distance of 7 XOR distance of 3 would make us choose the correct edges in the path from 3 to 7, and distance of 7 XOR. So basically what I'm saying is that distance of 7 XOR distance of 3 corresponds to the XOR of edges from 3 to 7, and distance of 8 XOR with distance of 3 similarly corresponds to the XOR of edges from 3 to 8. Hence, in the final result, for the edges from 7 to 8, we would take distance of 7 XOR distance of 3. So that's the first expression, and we would XOR that with distance of 8 XOR with distance of 3, and this actually cancels out distance of 3 because A XOR A is 0, and hence we would just be left with distance of 7 XOR distance of 8. So let's look at the general case when we want to find distance of I to j. This would just be the distance of I to the LCA XOR with the distance of the LCA to j. This is because I to the LCA is the lowest common ancestor of I and j. And the reason why this works is because I to LCA and LCA to j corresponds to the path between I and j, and this will just be equal to distance of I XOR distance of j, where distance of u is the XOR of the values on the edges from root 1 to u. And that's the whole crux behind the problem. Hence the original problem reduces to finding the sum of the XORs of the weights from node I to node j for all I, j. And this basically the sum of XOR of distance of ij for all pairs ij where I is less than g. So the way we would evaluate the sum is, for all bits going from 0 to 59, we would compute the contribution of that bit and we would add up all these contributions in our final answer. And the way we would compute the contribution of each bit would be to find the count of zeros in the values of distance of I for all I from 1 to n, and we would multiply that by the count of ones in the values of distance of I for all I going from 1 to n. And this is because XOR of two numbers or XOR of two bits is 0 is 1 only if one bit is 0 and the other bit is 1. Hence, multiplying the number of zeros by the number of ones and multiplying that by the value of the power of 2 will correctly compute the contribution of that power of 2 to the sum. So let's look at the code to understand this approach better. So in the code, first I read in n and I read in the graph. I use a 3D vector to store the adjacent nodes of a node along with the weight. So basically for each node u comma v and weight w, I add v comma w a vector to the adjacency list of u, and similarly I add the vector u comma w to the adjacency list of v. Then I do a standard DFS from the root, which is 1, to compute the value of distance of u for all u. So in the computation of distance of u for all u, I do distance of u is the distance of the parent, XOR with the distance of the XOR with the weight of the edge from u to parent. And initially I call it on 1, minus 1 and 0 because minus 1 would signal that 1 is the root, and in that case the distance of the root would be 0. Then for each adjacent vector I would compute v to be the u to v. So v is the edges from u to v, so v is the child of u, and if v is the parent then we would continue. Otherwise we would compute weight 2 to be the weight of the edge from u to v, and we would do a DFS on the child v with the parent u and the weight of the edge from u to v to be equal to w2. So this DFS basically computes the distance of u for all u, where the distance is the XOR from root to that node. Then this is the main function which takes care of the last part, in which we compute the contribution of each bit. So for all I is the current bit from 0 to 60. The reason why I go from 0 to 60 is because the weights can go up to 2 to the 60, and hence the maximum possible value of I will be 2 to the 60. And then I initialize count 0 and count 1 to be the number of zeros and the number of ones in the distance of I. So if the distance of u, if the ith bit is set in distance of u, then increment count 1, where count 1 is the number of set bits of the ith bit, and count 0, otherwise you would increment count 0. And then this is the part which I just explained. We would multiply count 0 by count 1 by 2 to the I, because 2 to the I is the value of that contribution, and we would add that to a final answer, and we would at each step we would take under modulus, which is 10 to the 9 plus 7, because the numbers can be quite large. So let's just submit this code to see that it gets accepted. So as you could see, the code got accepted. So this problem is a nice problem on how we can use LCA to effectively compute the sum of the value of a function across all pairs of nodes. The key takeaway from this problem is that we can compute the functions quite easily if the functions which we need to compute are invertible. And the reason why invertible functions are nice is because we can express that invertible function as a function from the root to that node, as you could see in the case of the sum and the case of when the function was a XOR. So I hope you liked the video, and please consider subscribing to my channel for more such content. Thank you.